My name is Dorin Cucicov. I'm an artist, a PhD student, and a coding teacher based in Bucharest, Romania. This project was developed during a 6-month residency in collaboration and with the kind support of the Colony Association and the Institute of Space Science from Mytherrella, Romania. I had the privilege of collaborating with Iulia Smeu, an interdisciplinary artist and musician, and Marius Echim, researcher at the Institute of Space Science from Romania and also the Belgian Institute for Space Aeronomy. One of the most famous legends associated with the Northern Lights comes from the indigenous cultures of the Inuit people, who inhabit areas such as Alaska, Canada, and Greenland. According to Inuit mythology, the Northern Lights were believed to be spirits of the deceased playing a ball game in the sky. Okay, so it's too fast, wait. So this ball game was played, according to the story, with the skull of a walrus. It also had a sound component. It is said that it has a whistling sound, and if you whistle back to it, the lights will come closer to you out of curiosity. Other stories have emerged from certain historical contexts and are associated with omens of war or enemies that were slain and seek revenge. Chukchi, Sami, and Meskwaki peoples have similar stories linking the aurora to the spirit world. These captivating stories and the beliefs about the aurora borealis reflect the deep spiritual connection the cultures of the Arctic region have for their environment. On the right, there is one of the earliest preserved illustrations of the aurora borealis, depicting it as a guiding force for hunters in their pursuit of fox. So despite their cultural diversity, these stories exhibit common themes and share archetypal elements that transcend geographical borders. Most of the stories surrounding the aurora originate from the indigenous peoples of the Arctic regions. However, there is also an auroral oval in the southern hemisphere, but there are no native populations in the area. Certain stories originating from the Maori culture in the New Zealand region have been correlated to the manifestations of the aurora australis. In our installation, we have used mob representations of these two regions. On the scientific part, scientific observations of the aurora have started to take shape in the late 19th century with the development of the scientific instruments and the establishment of dedicated research expeditions. This natural phenomenon is caused by an interaction between charged particles from the sun and the Earth's magnetic field. When the solar wind reaches Earth's magnetic field, these highly charged particles are directed towards the polar regions, where they collide with atoms and molecules in the atmosphere, exciting them and producing colorful lights. Auroral observatories typically monitor these activities of the aurora by capturing all-sky images of the celestial dome. The construction of the installation drew inspiration from these early structures. With the help of the Kiruna Atmospheric and Geophysical Observatory of the Swedish Institute of Space Physics, we were granted access to a large dataset of all-sky auroral images of this round format, which were used to train a StyleGAN model to be able to generate realistic auroral formations. Through a process called data blading, we infused this original data set with a set of different format images, with artistic images, a small amount of artistic images with the aurora borealis, in order to achieve subtle transitions between this purely scientific look to a more abstract one. So this is the physical form of the work. It is designed as a booth, drawing inspiration from the observatories of the early 19th century. The exterior of the booth showcases elements of mythological illustrations and selected texts about the aurora in a graffiti style. It serves as a representation of the collective narrative surrounding this natural phenomenon while also conveying its transient nature. Inside the booth, we have a two-screen interactive setup, interactive video setup. First screen contains a digital map with two analog knobs that enable visitors to navigate the whole map. And on the map, there are 10 hidden locations that conceal distinct local legends. Visitors in this way embark on a journey to discover these locations that have given birth to mythological stories surrounding the aurora. The second screen in the front exhibits a dynamic real-time rendering of the artificial aurora that undergoes continuous space transformations upon discovering one image on the digital map on the first screen. The video actively strives to integrate visual elements from the associated mythological story into its representation. So this is the digital map. It is focused on the poles and deliberately omits information such as nation names, borders, seas and rivers. This aims to challenge the influence of political borders on the conventional conception of the global map, fostering connections between cultures that transcend geopolitical borders. Using generative tools and the selected text about mythological stories, we created the text prompts based on this and generated distinct visual representations of these legends. Each concealed location on the map corresponds to a unique image symbolizing a myth from that particular region. These images are revealed once the visitor identifies the specific location on the map, and they are further fed and influence the projection on the second screen. Okay, so a little bit more about the technical process behind. The generative process of the artificial aurora operates in a perpetual loop, sampling from the latent space continuous images indefinitely. When a mythological image is identified on the map, it is projected to the generator network in an iterative process, so it doesn't have specifically a concrete end. The projection of an image refers to the process of finding a latent code that, when fed into the StyleGAN model, produces an output image that closely resembles the input image. So it searches for as close an image as it gets to the input, from the input. Given that these input images are not part of the training data set, so the images on the map, this process involves a persistent quest of trial and error, resulting in a hallucination of a unique animation. In generative models, hallucination occurs when the model extrapolates from the learned representation to produce new similar style and content based on the training data. In some cases, this is not a positive phenomenon, especially if the semantic generated output is important. In our project, on the other side, we have intentionally constructed the data set and the interaction in a way to encourage this occurrence. Also, in our algorithm, we hijacked the process of finding the final image, so the path from during the path of finding the final image, so that we can introduce a new image in this process. In this way, the development direction of the animation is changed in real time, allowing for a continuous disruption of the generative process and for a continuously changing video. This is a time lapse of one process in which the previously shown image is fed to the model. It exemplifies the process of projecting the image, and as you can see, it starts from more scientific standard look and tries to find the graphic elements inside the model to the end, even bending the shape of the all-sky image to the shape of the image it got as an input. Our approach aims to disrupt the exclusively scientific representation of the aurora, embracing a more multifaceted and imaginative portrayal of the aurora. Mytherrella serves as an experimental endeavor, forging a shared space where scientific data intertwines with collective narratives. Let's try this. Okay. I think this concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to discuss more if you have any questions.
Oui, il y a des questions.
Yes, we do have some questions in the room, maybe. Any questions?
Well. Yes, we have a question over there. J'en profite pour remercier toutes les.
And I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank all of our production team members running around the room with microphones.
My name's Sarah. I was just wondering what was the response of the audience like in understanding the Northern Lights in through your artwork, and whether you've had a chance to share it with any of those indigenous groups that you mentioned at the beginning.
So these kind of interactive installations are always popular with the kids, so children always love interacting and breaking it. I didn't have a chance to share it with indigenous peoples. I would like to have this opportunity, maybe someday.